BP just had a horrible explosion recently in Texas where 15 people died. And now 11 people died during this explosion. So not only human loss, certainly countless wild and fish life and environmental damage beyond really anything that we have seen. And something that will have an effect for decades, if not centuries. And yet, when you have these kinds of egregious crimes, no corporate executive is ever held accountable. At the worst, they are fined. They're slapped with a minuscule fine, even though literally not just environmental degradation, literally human life has been taken and lost. And yet those of us that take a stand and try to prevent these types of things from happening, to try to take a stand and oppose this egregious destruction towards our sacred planet, our one and only home, that choose to be a voice for those voices that are commonly ignored, we are then labeled as not only terrorists but criminals and incarcerated for taking a stand to oppose these kinds of acts. It's absolutely very Orwellian, actually.
Absolutely. Peace is war and war is peace, and environment is a crime. How do you measure the mental temperature of the country at this moment as far as these things are concerned? Because there are so many things going, of course, every time, every day. History is a continuum, it never stops, and there are many things that come and go on the screen of life, so to speak, and on television screen. But how do you read the temper of the nation as far as environment is concerned?
Well, it's a mix, I think, and it's very interesting times to be alive, that's for sure. On some level, people are becoming more aware and more conscious and want to do more to help save and protect the environment. At the same time, the way that we have been conditioned and brainwashed and programmed in this culture is to live a life that's filled with material acquisition and convenience and commodities that supposedly bring us happiness and make our lives easier. And so, I would like to think that people would see or hear what's going on in the Gulf of Mexico and decide, okay, it's time to stop driving automobiles until there's truly a viable, renewable source of energy or source of running automobiles. First of all, automobiles can be run on water. They can be run on hydrogen. They can be run on vegetable oil. Some of them already are. And so this is what gets me so deeply, is that these kinds of oil spills and these kinds of egregious, abominable degradation to the environment is completely 100% avoidable and unnecessary. Even if people want to still drive their automobiles, we could be doing it without the use of oil, petroleum oil. And so I think that there might be some, when things like this happen, some people might wake up and realize, okay, we got to do something about it. Yet until it really hits most people, until it hits them in their pocketbook, it hits them in the home that they're living or the structure that they're living in, until they can't drive their vehicle to Safeway or Fred Meyer and buy food that's grown halfway around the world, they won't, most people I don't think, unfortunately, will wake up. It's possible, and I still hold out a faith that people are going to wake up before it's too late.
But isn't it true, which is a truism, by the way, that just our way of life it's a catch-22 situation, because the economy can only survive by exponential growth. If there is no exponential growth, no, I'm not saying that it is right. I live very modestly. I'm a vegetarian. I managed to, my trash is less than one bag a week, one of the small bags. So, but what I'm saying is that the economy is based on this exponential growth. In fact, wherever you open the newspaper in the business section, we should grow. Right. We should grow, and it's not so much for the growth of the individual, like in this case, but the economy must grow because of trickle-down economics, so that if it grows, something will trickle down. So it seems to be a catch-22 situation. If you don't have exponential growth, the economy comes to a halt or close to a halt as it is now, with many people unemployed and things like this. And on the other hand, if you continue to have this exponential growth, we will see in a not too distant future, the old hills will be will be shaven and become clear cuts. And what we don't clear cut now here, they clear cut in Russia or in other places. So it's not that it doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if it doesn't happen here, because we all are affected.
Absolutely.
So to hear you talk, it's encouraging, and it gives some ray of hope, because I'm sure you're not alone now. There are many people. I also know some people in the Portland area itself, and probably there are even in Florida or somewhere else.
Sure.
But the temperature, as I was saying, is still is warming up to the business interests that say we must grow, we must have these hedge funds that somehow compel in some indirect way the industry to do this and to do that, or to produce more. I said something wrong. It's not the hedge funds. The hedge funds are a part of this machinery that is based on growth, even virtual growth of money that produces nothing, but still it has to be growing. If it doesn't grow, it's bad. And we have seen just in these days, regressively, what happened, it was just today, what happened in Greece, when you have a situation that they want to unload the burden of these economic sanctions, really, how else can you call them, on the working class, and the people are starting to revolt. And it is sad that the only way for people to express themselves in such a way that the people hear about it is to go on a path of destruction. You did not do that. And you went on a path of constructions and were, quote unquote, destroyed, at least the intent was to destroy you. But for having something happen, we don't know what happens now in Greece. And of course, we're not talking about the environment, but the situation is the same.
Sure it is.
Here you have something imposed from the above on a large mass of people who have no other way of reacting than by destroying. And this is a very sad state of affairs. It's an obvious thing that happened, but there is no much we can do. And so, what are you doing now?
Well, I'm doing this. I'm still doing a lot of activism. I'm doing a lot of speaking engagements and interviews. I perform a lot of music for a lot of benefits, like for the Sea Lion Defense Brigade, for the Animal Defense League, for the Blue Mountains Biodiversity Project. So, this is one of my forms of activism now, is to be a voice and to continue to speak out about the injustices and the atrocities at the hands of corporate and government officials, and to encourage and activate people to take a stand and do something about it. You mentioned about the economy and about the trickle down and about the the way that our system is set up, that we have a consumer-based economy that is based on more and more growth. And
if it were just consumer, it's bad. But okay, for many people, eventually would say, I will consume less.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy meat because I'm not going to buy meat or consume meat. Which there was a documentary on food, and it's interesting they don't want even show. They didn't allow to see what's going on in these
slaughterhouses.
These slaughterhouses.
No, they don't want
because they know these people that have the interest. They know that if they show, most people would say, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it anymore."
Yeah. If slaughterhouse had glass windows, we'd all be vegetarians.
Which would be so yeah, but it is based on this idea of growth. I interrupted you. Have you ever tried? What happened? Sorry,
no,
finish what you're saying.
Well, we need to put the eco back in economy, and and have truly a sustainable protection of all life kind of economy, rather than benefiting only the few in corporate a profit and greed driven economy. It's not sustainable.
Have you ever tried, this is a naive question, have you ever tried to contact one of our congressmen, and would they receive you or would they not receive you?
Well, I've had some debates. I think ultimately, they most of them are polite, and they kind of say things to appear that they're concerned, to kind of appease constituents, and then they pretty much, for the most part, cater to the demands of the lobbyists that are the voices for the corporations.
In the case of the trees, who makes the